Yo, what's up, everyone? It's the Club of the Fight. I'm Sav.
And I'm Mysterio, your neighborhood-friendly hype man.
We just had a very interesting week. I was at ADE, Mysterio was unable to attend, and then we played at Boat's House, a famous club in Cologne, Germany, for Halloween, which was an incredible experience. Every time we play there, it's just insane, fucking off the wall, off the chain. It's one of the greatest clubs that we've ever played so far.
Absolutely. But while you were in ADE, you had a lot of collab time.
A lot of sessions, yeah.
You sat down, you had a lot of sessions.
It was very productive. I got to catch up with a lot of producers that I normally wouldn't see, because ADE, for those of you that don't know, is called Amsterdam Dance Event, and it's an event where all the DJs and producers from around the world kind of congregate, and they have seminars and panels during the daytime, and then at night they basically go out and get drunk and party. So a lot of the labels have events at night, and everyone just kind of comes out, and a lot of the times most of the producers just go there for the events, you know, not so much for the discussion panels or the things that transpire during the daytime. But I will say that I actually wanted to attend one of the panel discussions this year, but I don't know, just it didn't happen scheduling wise. But I definitely want to do it next year, for sure.
But what we're gonna discuss today is, during those sessions, what is the protocol? What goes down when you first get into a studio with other producers? What's the proper etiquette? Things like that.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people always ask me, hey, so what do you usually do when you get into a studio session?
And everybody knows the first thing you do is drop your pants.
Absolutely. That's a great icebreaker. You just go in there, you shake the person's hand.
Take out the dick.
Wow.
Or the snatch.
Pull them down.
You know, it's the same thing for girls. There's no bias here.
So that's tip
Take
number
out
one.
your parts.
Just pull down your pants, guys.
Yeah.
And ladies. Works like a charm every time. But there's different, right, Mysterio? In our experiences, there's really no right or wrong way. It just depends.
No, there's
on
different
the vibe,
vibes
right?
depending on who it is, and it depends. It really does. In my experiences, some of the best collabs have happened when things weren't rushed. When you knew we had the studio for like 6-7 hours, so we had the time and the luxury to bullshit with the producer for an hour, you know, and kind of get comfortable instead of just jumping right in. Kind of like, you know, shooting the shit, you know, just getting comfortable with each other. A perfect example, when we collabed with Sac Noel, and Ranza was in the studio, and we all got some grub out there in LA, and we just ate, and we were just bullshitting, and it made us really comfortable. And then when you and Sac were ready to get to business, about an hour in, you did, and you made a fucking...
It wasn't an hour. It was
No, it was a good
30, 40 minutes.
I'm not saying it in a bad way, but...
No, I know. I'm just telling you that I think you're exaggerating. I don't think it was an hour. But anyways...
You don't have the best jacket time, SAV. Like, I'm telling you, a lot of the times, that's just one example I'm giving. A lot of times, SAV, you'll still just start chatty Cathy. It'll be like an hour before we get down to business. I mean, when we were in Amsterdam with Hase, we got Chinese food, we did live streams. I mean, we didn't actually start getting down maybe 3 hours in. You know, it was a long time.
You bring up a good point. There's a lot of the times it just depends on whether or not you have sufficient amount of studio time. Sometimes if for example, if you're going to someone's house and they happen to have a studio in their house, that's okay. You know, you have a lot of time to play with, right? Because there's no time constraints.
Sure.
So, but sometimes there are, and you go to a professional studio, and it's being rented out. So there's a specific window, and you have to kind of get things moving rather quickly.
That's actually a completely different story. Like, if that's your case, if you only have the studio for like an hour and a half, 2, scratch everything we said. There's no time for Chinese food, no time to shoot this shit. You gotta kind of like jump in there.
Just come in prepared. And a lot of the times, from what I'm noticing recently, a lot of the times people just come in. This happened to me in Amsterdam during ADE. I met up with 2 producers called Wide Awake from the UK, and I met up with 2 other producers called Wonderwall from the Netherlands, and we all met up, and everyone had a session ready to go, or I should say sessions, and they presented said sessions when we met up. Like you said though, first 30-40 minutes we were just talking, getting to know each other, that whole thing. But then it got to
Which
a point.
is important.
It is.
If you have the time, do that.
We were vibing, but we only had the studio for 4 hours. So I think at one point, one of the Wide Awake guys was like, all right, mates, so who's got the session, mates? And I was like, I'm doing a terrible impression, by the way. I sound like from someone from New Zealand, not the UK. I'm sorry, Wide Awake. I'm doing you complete disservice.
It's like Crocodile Thunder. Australia.
Sound like someone from the UK.
Yeah, put another shrimp in the barbie.
But yeah, you get the point. So I think, yeah, he took it upon himself to say, hey, all right, let's cut the bullshit.
It's good to have somebody like that there, and if there isn't somebody like that, then you be that
That's
person.
usually you, right, Mysterio?
Yeah, I'm like, guys, all right, let's get to business. Running out of time.
Right, but this time it was one of the Wide Awake guys, and then he had a couple of sessions, and he started playing them, and then we were all vibing, and then we all decided, oh, okay, yeah, we felt one of the tracks was perfect, and then we started working on that track, and then we finished that one rather quickly, because he had a lot of it already pretty much done, and since there's 2 other producers in the room, there's only so much we can add without completely changing the track. So we started working on the second one, and then the second one was presented by Wonderwall, and then the third one was presented by me. We actually worked pretty cohesively, you know. There was 1 track per person presented, but we all had our sessions prepared and ready to go. And I think a lot of the times, a lot of these bigger producers do the same thing. For example, if Diplo's meeting with Madonna, Diplo is not making a beat from scratch for Madonna. Diplo already has a bunch of sessions in a folder ready to go for Madonna. So, which makes sense, right? Because Madonna's probably only in there for a limited amount of time because she's so busy. So she can't really afford to spend more than, you know, an hour with Diplo in the studio, let's say. I'm just going off a limb there. I'm not saying that that's the case, but maybe she could spend more time with him. But I'm pretty sure Diplo is the type of producer that has to go in there ready with, you know, production pretty much ready to go. And I think that's the case when you get to that level, right? But when you're like at our level and intermediary level, you're still, you can still afford to work with other producers or vocalists in the studio. You have more leeway in that sense, right, Mysterio? I think it's safe to say that at our level, we definitely have more
There's
room.
definitely more leeway. I mean, one thing that I see a lot, producers like to actually play other stuff they're working on. Like, hey, Sav, check this out, this collab I did with Tsunano. Or check out this collab I did with Mike Savello. Like, we see that a lot where people are just playing us their current stuff. And that's cool, too. That's cool, too, because sometimes you might be like, oh, shit, I like that collab you played me with Tsunano. Let's make something like that. Like, not exactly like that, but I like that. You know, you might draw inspiration from it. Sometimes it's annoying because they're just playing, like, 10 fucking tracks, and you're like, all right, let's start working on ours, you know. And also it's like, I remember one time, I forget who it was, but they're playing us, and I had zoned out, so I didn't realize that he was playing me a finished track with someone else. So I'm like, yeah, this is a dope demo. Let's work on this one. Like, no, Mysterio, he's not offering this. Like, this is his collab with Mike. Like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? That
has happened a lot.
That has happened. Sometimes you get excited about a track and they're just giving you.
Or then you try to tell them, hey, can you replicate that track?
Sure.
But then that's not really fair.
They don't
right?
feel comfortable with that. And
I personally
you don't want to be a hack job.
I personally don't like it when someone asks me to replicate another song that I made in the past. But you know what? If the situation calls for it and it's a producer I really want to work with and they're requesting that, then I have to do it.
Sure.
But a lot of producers, they're not necessarily happy about being asked to make something they've already made. A lot of producers just want to make something new.
You approach them. Yeah. When we work with et cetera, and you were like, yo, I want to hear that 2012 Moomba, et cetera, sounds like the Bueller type. It lit a fire under his ass, and you guys made some shit that I haven't heard, et cetera, making years, and it was a welcome return. So it could be good sometimes. It's all about how you approach and how you're vibing with said producer.
True.
You know, if you're asking them to revive a sound from 6 years ago, I think that's fair game. If you're asking them to revive a sound from a song they just did with another producer, that's kind of hack-eyed, hack job.
Yeah. But seldom the amount of times that you get into a studio and make something from scratch with someone. I've done it in the past, but very rare. It's few and far between the opportunities that one
Ain't nobody
gets
got time for that.
It's very rare. It's very rare, but it is possible. But yeah, a lot of the times you don't really have or can afford the amount of time and luxury to sit down with someone and just make a production from scratch. But remember, there was an interesting session that we had in Amsterdam where we worked with a vocalist. What's his name? Mysterio at Vocal Kitchen.
Oh, Wolf at Vocal Kitchen. We worked with Mark Wolf.
Mark Wolf. Yes. And
that shit was made from scratch.
That was made. Well, we were making it with another writer and what was his name?
Mark Wolf, and there was another guy who was actually a resident of Vocal Kitchen.
Yes, he's one of the founders of Vocal Kitchen. Shout outs to Vocal Kitchen. If you guys ever need vocals or top line for any of your tracks, hit up Vocal Kitchen in the Netherlands. They're amazing. They're amazing.
You will be charged for it though.
Yes, of course. Yeah, I mean, you will be charged for their services, but it's well worth it. They are incredible writers. That particular session, I think the other writer's name is Aaron, the founder of Vocal Kitchen, if I'm not mistaken. But we sat down and we were just writing with him. We were creating lyrics on the spot.
But the beat wasn't from scratch. You had a beat.
Right. The beat wasn't from scratch, but that's a situation where you're sitting down with the vocalist and you're both coming together and creating the vibe for the lyrics.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time, some producers choose not to have any input with the lyrics. Like, they just feel like, okay, I'm not adequate enough to contribute to this because I'm not a songwriter. But if you want to contribute and if the vocalist is open to it, that's also another cool way of collaborating with vocalist.
Yeah.
That was an interesting session for me. I don't know about you, Mysterio, but that was one of my favorites.
Oh, me too, man. I got to do a lot of writing on that because
yeah, you were writing in that.
I got to, utilize my freestyling skills.
Yeah.
No surprise, we used a lot of what I came up with.
You should bust a freestyle right now.
I mean, that's not really the time.
Just bust it during the podcast. Just do it.
I bust it. I try not to cuss it. I gotta take the cobwebs out and unrust it. I wasn't ready. Wedding day bells chiming, where's my confetti? Let me keep it steady. I'm ahead of the race, I can't be stopped. Yeah, put you in a cast. Bring that bass, I mean bass in your face. It's our podcast. You won't even know how we do it. My dick's like a boa. Shout out to Yellow Claw. Shout out to Julian Saboba.
Oh, nasty, nasty. You guys got it here exclusively.
Exclusive.
On Where's the Drop podcast. Wow. You're so talented, Mysterio. When are we dropping that EP? Mysterio, my hype man, is also an MC for those of you that are unaware. And if you guys don't watch the videos, you guys should go on our YouTube channel. If you just listen to the podcast on iTunes, you should go on our YouTube channel so you can see what Mysterio looks like. You'd be pleasantly surprised.
I'm gonna do the same thing that I usually do in the studios when SAV gets too chatty. Come on, we got a job to do.
Why are you making loud, obnoxious noises that you know are going to sound very ear-piercing on the podcast?
Sorry.
Slapping, punching is not good for a podcast.
Let's get back to business. One thing I did want to say, one more thing before we close out that matter. It's kind of obvious, but the more clout the producer has that you're working with, usually the less time you're going to have. More busy they're going to be.
True.
Obviously, so when we got in the studio with other like-minded, same level types, like we Wide Awake and that, there was more a luxury. When we got in the studio with Sidney Sampson in Amsterdam, I remember that was not luxury. We didn't bullshit. There was no getting comfortable. You guys just
straight to business.
Straight to business. Kind of just sat down and, what do you want to make? Let's go. And
yeah. And Sydney already had a session prepared, so...
Sydney had a session prepared.
We were just contributing to the session that he already had. But yeah, that's true. If you're working with a producer that has more clout and more credibility than you as a producer or an artist, then yeah, you can't really afford to bullshit and chat with them a lot of the times. Yeah. I'm sure it's possible, but... I don't know. I, for one, if I'm going to the studio with someone that I look up to, for example, like that day, Sidney Sampson, to me, I've looked up to him for years. I was really nervous, you know. I was like, whoa, I don't even know. Should I be funny with him? I mean, I was being myself the entire time, but I just didn't know if I should say certain jokes or...
You were seriously awkward.
Did I?
Yeah, you were stuttering all over yourself. Tripping you.
I was drooling all over myself.
You spilled mustard on your shirt.
I was having convulsions, and I was shaking. My hands were shaking, and I remember I was sweating profusely.
You were like a high school girl on a date with a senior. Like a freshman. Your hands were... At one point, I gave Stevie a pound, and his hands were all sweaty. He had vomit on his sweater already. Mom's empanadas. No, I'm just playing with you.
But regardless, yeah, it all depends on the situation. But always try to have a session mapped out and ready to go, or sessions.
Yes.
Ready to go.
Speaking of big DJs, we got some juicy stuff to talk about this week.
I wouldn't say juicy. More than anything, I think it's very important, if anything.
That's true.
It's not really... There's not much juice here. I think it's a topic that...
The event itself is juicy, but the underlying theme of it is mental illness and...
mental illness, not just...
Depression.
And not just in general, but in dance music. A lot of producers have come forward lately after the passing of the producer Avicii a few months ago. A lot of them are coming forward now and admitting to, they're just admitting to the fact that they're suffering from physical exhaustion, mental exhaustion, and they're taking time off, which is something that could definitely be attributed to Avicii's passing. For those of you that don't know, Avicii was a very well-known producer in the electronic dance community.
I don't think there's anyone listening to this podcast that doesn't know who Avicii is.
You never know. But if you don't know, you should look into him. And he passed away. It's confirmed, right, that he committed suicide? It was a suicide?
I believe.
Wow. I believe it was a suicide. And Avicii was suffering from depression and exhaustion for many years. And he took time off, I think 2 or 3 years ago, from touring. And he just dedicated himself to becoming a producer. But, yeah.
That was something also that was concerning, because when he took the time off, you kind of felt like, okay, he's making the right moves to secure his health, and it's kind of scary that didn't even work.
Right. That's true.
You know, obviously, we're dance music guys, we're focused on dance music, but I think the conversation is bigger. Because a lot of our guys, Diplo, Dylan, have both collabed with rap guys like Mac Miller. Mac Miller played New Year's with Skrillex. So some of the trap and rap guys also kind of bleed into our scene. And I think along with Avicii raising awareness, Mac Miller dying, like a lot of these deaths this year from celebrities in and around our scene have been mental illness and depression related.
It's been a big year for that. That's true.
And so it brings us to this next one, the departure from the scene. Deadmau5's departure from the scene. Deadmau5 just recently was in this controversy where he commented on Slushy's music. I don't know what the exact tweet is because it got deleted, but he alluded to the music being retarded, or he called Slushy's music retarded. It was something to that effect. Slushy came out saying he was very offended because he said that he actually is on the spectrum and he doesn't take that stuff lightly. And then Marshmello came to his defense and he's like, yo, Slushy, don't even listen to Deadmau5. He's a big bully. Karma will get him. Don't worry about people who try to bring... He's just insecure, trying to bring other people down. Deadmau5 eventually ended up coming out and saying, I'm taking a break from dance music. I apologize for these comments. I realized they were hurtful, and I'm taking a break from dance music to reevaluate whatnot.
Yeah, and Carnage did the same thing last week. He wrote a similar statement on Twitter saying that his psychiatrist and his doctor have advised him to take some time off from touring. And Hardwell also, right? I think it was last month, Hardwell also came out and said that he felt drained, that he needed to take some time off and catch up with life because he hasn't been seeing his family.
he doesn't have a family, right? He was saying all his friends have families.
Well, yeah, he doesn't have his own family. He has a family, but he doesn't have his own.
He's not in a relationship.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, I want to draw a line in the sand here because I think these are all the Carnage and the Hardwell. You can group those together. I think those are similar situations. Here's my issue with the Deadmau5 thing. If Deadmau5 is truly leaving because he feels he needs to go get himself the proper help, then I'm all with it. If that's truly the reason. But for me, it reeks of a PR nightmare. To me, I feel it's his people that turned around and said, Deadmau5, Slushy came out and was offended by your comment. This is a bad look. This looks bad. You need to take some space. You need to apologize. And if it was a PC thing, I'm sorry, I don't feel the same about it. I don't feel that Deadmau5 should take time for some PC shit. Deadmau5 is Deadmau5. This is something he's done from the beginning of his career.
He's known for being a troll.
He's our troll. He belongs to us. He belongs to the EDM community. Along with his great music, you get the troll. You can't get one without the other with Deadmau5. It's a package deal. And for me, I was slightly bothered by the fact that Slushy come out and make these comments and then it would force Deadmau5 to take this departure. And I'm like, love Slushy. Slushy's great, but Deadmau5 is a veteran. He's an OG. He belongs to us, and I just don't want to see him so quickly like shunned.
I think it's
I was seeing the dance community really get on him and just like, oh.
Don't you think it's being perceived as bullying? I think that's the main issue here. I think that Deadmau5, trolling aside, it's okay to troll. I mean, he's trolled Skrillex in the past, right? Like he put Skrillex's number on his T-shirt during the Grammys, and then I remember at the time Skrillex's tour manager had to change his phone number, and it was an inconvenience for Skrillex at the time.
Super inconvenience.
But that's a troll. There's a difference between trolling.
But that troll actually caused the inconvenience.
But it's not
where the manager couldn't book flights and do immediate things he had to do because he's taking care of changing Sonny's phone number.
Right, but
that to me is even more offensive. Actually,
but nonetheless, it's still technically could be classified under trolling, which trolling back in the days would really be classified under punking. Right? Or pranking, pulling a prank on someone, or being a punk, right?
Sure.
But what he's doing now is more heavily leaning towards bullying. This is a classification of bullying because.
Would you feel the same way if Slushy did not come out and say I'm on the spectrum?
Well, regardless of Slushy being on the spectrum, he's still a younger artist that looked up to Deadmau5.
But do you see what I'm getting at?
Should be setting as an example, right, for these young producers, no? But what instead what he's doing is he's coming off as this bitter old man filled with angst.
I think that's a different conversation.
Is it? I don't know about that.
Deadmau5 is an entertainer. I don't believe that entertainers have a responsibility to their fans to do that. I feel like that's an entertainer's choice. Me and you, it's our choice to do these podcasts and dispense information, to get up on live streams and give advice to our fans. We choose. That's the people we are.
True.
Deadmau5 in his brand, in his entertainment, he chooses to be a dick. But that's also his brand. Now, the point I wanted to make about the comment, Deadmau5 comes out, your music's retarded. Slushy goes, oh, it's retarded? I'm on the spectrum. That, to me, is very similar. This has happened to all of us, where we're joking around with somebody and we go, Joe Mama, and then they go, well, actually, my mom died 3 years ago. And you're like, oh, fuck. Now I feel like a dick.
I feel terrible.
I didn't know that. That just happened to your
yeah, that happened to my girl, yeah. She was talking to a friend of mine, and she didn't know that his mother had passed away from cancer a few years ago, and she made a Yo Mama joke. And yeah, that's exactly what happened to her, and she felt terrible, extremely terrible that night.
But I feel I draw correlations between that and this Deadmau5 situation. If Deadmau5 had known Slushy was on the spectrum, I don't think that Deadmau5 would have made that comment. I don't. I think he would have known it was important.
I agree. I've actually met Joel on a number of occasions in the past when I was touring with Skrillex, and he seems like a really genuine guy. Seems like just highly intelligent. Sometimes, he's that type of person who'd be classified under too smart for their own good. His brain is working 100 miles a minute, so he speaks whatever's on his mind. I think you're like that too, Mysterio. You can relate to him.
Oh, yeah.
You guys just speak what you're so intelligent and you have so much going on in your heads that you just speak without thinking sometimes, or that you don't think of the consequences or repercussions.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of guy Joel is.
Yeah,
So he's misunderstood.
yeah. And I don't know if it's just me, but I trust people more when they don't have filters, because they're not trying to hide shit.
That's true.
And even if, sometimes they're just shooting at the hip and something they say may come off as misogynistic, racist, politically incorrect.
It's not intended
But I
that
trust that more than the person that's like hiding his true beliefs from me. Because, even if you say something wretched, at least you're putting it all out there. You're showing me your cards. You're not trying to hide. You're like, hey, listen, it may not be right, but this is who I am. And I have a certain, I feel for those people. I have a certain respect for those people.
Well, I think we're going into also the topic of bullying, which is something we're going to discuss in the next podcast. Internet bullying in our scene. Like, we had a situation that we're going to discuss in the next podcast.
Yeah, that's not so much for this one.
Right, but I think there is a clear difference where you have to draw the line between bullying and trolling. And I think this particular example would be classified under bullying, and I think that's when the people around Deadmau5 probably...
In your opinion.
My opinion, I think that's...
I disagree.
That's just the general perception from society, that this is the climate we're living in. Most people would consider him a bully. Whether or not he knew if Slushy was on the spectrum or not.
Slushy's playing and Deadmau5 is underneath the table poking him with a stick. But that's bullying.
That's the classic version of bullying. But now we have the internet, and now the internet introduced a new form of bullying, cyberbullying. So it's different now. I think the internet has just opened the floodgates to so many different things now.
Not all of them for the better.
No, not all of them, but there are a lot of great things that have come from the internet. But that's not the reason we're doing these podcasts.
The only thing
we're not a Gizmodo podcast, so we're not.
The only great thing I can think of that came from the internet is the Dat Boy memes
and Pornhub.
I love those Dat Boy and Pornhub. But I don't want you to think that I'm not
and podcasting.
That I'm not being heartfelt towards Slushy. I want to give you guys my context, and I don't even know, SAV, you might not even know about this. The reason that I feel a little more comfortable, almost like allowed to talk about it not being offensive to me, but the spectrum thing is, I've been diagnosed as on the spectrum myself.
Okay, I did not know.
Yeah, not heavily, like, obviously you guys know me, I can speak, and if you look at my dance moves, I mean, you might assume I was on the spectrum, right?
You can speak? I didn't know that.
I can speak
somewhat. I thought it was just all garble this entire time.
But yes, I have been diagnosed on the spectrum. But for those of you that don't know what it means, it means that on some level there's some sort of learning curve you have, a disability. It's different for different people, but obviously I'm able to be on the spectrum and still be a working man in the EDM industry, a hype man, moderate success. Slushy is on the spectrum, and he's able to be one of the most prolific and successful newcomer DJs of the last 5 years. DJ producers of the last 5 years. So when you look at that, I'm just kind of like, come on, dog. You're gonna play the spectrum card now to gain sympathy and you really knowing how the internet is these days. A producer needs to know when you make this kind of allegation against another producer that you're offended. You know what that's gonna do to the other guy. You know your fans gonna go and lambast this fucking guy. You know that your fans are gonna go, and I just feel like this is a certain responsibility we have. I don't go and air dirty laundry of people, of other producers, unless I really feel they deserve it. And, we had a situation early in the year, but that person deserved it. But I guess it's not fair. Who am I to say? If Slushy was really offended, and I guess he felt Deadmau5 deserved it, it just sucks to me, because I just think I wouldn't personally have been offended by a comment like that.
I hear you, Mysterio.
But even as I'm saying that, I'm realizing that it's not my call to make.
It's really
if
not.
If Slushy was offended, he was offended.
But going back to mental health in general, right?
I know.
You've made a lot of interesting comments to me on the road, saying that you don't really feel like depression should be warranted by a lot of these big DJs and producers because they're making so much money on the road. And you and I don't really see eye to eye on that topic. I think we should talk more about that because I think that's interesting.
Yes.
I feel completely opposite. I feel like regardless of fame and fortune, people feel depression. And that's a universal thing that no matter where you are on the social ladder, you're all going to feel the same thing and you feel the same type of emotions. So we disagree. We don't really see eye to eye on that topic because you feel differently, right? Explain how you feel when it comes to depression and DJs and producers in our scene.
Okay, I have to preface this with there's two different kinds of there's mental illness, there's clinical depression, right? When you have clinical depression, it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what level of success you are. You're clinically depressed, you can't find the happiness. And I feel with somebody like Avicii, I feel that's what an Avicii had or something. My issue is, and I saw it in the wake of Avicii's death, I saw DJ producers going up there and like, see, people don't realize how hard our life is. And, the touring life isn't all that it's cracked out to be. And, and I saw DJs kind of like putting woe is me posts and kind of getting on that bandwagon. And that's the issue I had when I was like, yo, dog, hold up. Avicii had clinical depression. Avicii was a guy that no matter what level of success or what he had, the guy was clinically depressed, cannot control that. That's not the same thing. Let's not take this as a plight now to use this for the DJ plight that our life is so hard. I've been at both ends of the spectrum. And I can't help but I always, no matter how much success I have, I relate more with the common fan and the kid at home listening. And I'm just like, yo, how is this fucking kid supposed to feel, on the fucking bus, going to a shit job at Western Beef to go stock shelves. And he's over here, he goes on his computer goes on his phone to forget about life on his way to his miserable job to get chewed out by his fat boss, Stanley. And he goes on his Twitter and he sees...
Sounds like you're speaking from experience.
He sees his favorite fucking DJ producer up there going, yo, I'm so depressed, I gotta take time off, my life is really hard. And it's like, damn, I guess it never gets better. Like, I hate my life, and then I would think that when you're at the level that this guy's at, you would think that it would get better, and it doesn't. It's just hard. Like, it's like...
So what is your issue? You're saying that there's a difference between...
My issue is like, okay...
Let me ask you something. You really believe there's a difference? So you're saying there's a difference between clinical depression and what? DJ depression? So there's a difference? Like, what is it? Isn't it the same thing?
I feel that these DJ producers need to smell the roses more. You need to smell the roses. You need to live in the moment because you know me. I suffer with depression. And we all handle this differently. But I don't go there. I don't stop. I don't take breaks.
But are you clinically depressed? I'm sorry to ask this on a podcast, but are you?
No, because I do believe that what I'm fighting for and what I struggle with, like, if I get to where I want to be, I will achieve my happiness and I will be able to be okay.
So just because there's no prognosis on your depression, or let's say a DJ's depression, therefore it cannot be compared to what, like, let's say someone Avicii had? That's what you're saying?
In a sense, yeah. I'm saying in a sense that, like, okay, so these DJ producers that are taking these breaks, it's a luxury to be at that point, because obviously we're talking about Carnage, Deadmau5, Avicii. These are producers that have that money. They can take a break. They can come back in 5 years. Skrillex can extend this vacation for 5 years. He can come back in 2025, and he'll be fine. But that's not a luxury that me and you have. Me and you get depressed because we have a bad month. We take a break. We go away for a year. We're done. I go away for a year. Mysterio comes back. No one gives a fuck. There's going to be 5 new masked DJ producer, hype man, whatever.
Right.
So I think it's a luxury. And all I'm saying is some of these DJ producers that are, taking these breaks, saying they're miserable or depressed, I would implore them to meet up with an old friend or a fan and go with them to their job for a day. Go wake up at 9 in the morning and go to their office job with them. Go fax papers. Go copy machine. 10 hours. Go fucking serve fries at a hot kitchen at McDonald's, and your pimples are popping.
You know what you just...
And then you know what? I bet you might go, my job ain't so bad.
After all. You know what you just touched upon?
Yeah.
What was that show on NBC? The Boss Show, where they would switch the role of like a CEO with a regular person like working a normal job at McDonald's, let's say, like a regular blue collar worker.
I forget the name of it, but
CEO Boss. It's not. I don't
Big
remember.
Underboss. Big Boss.
That show would work well with like a big DJ.
Yeah.
And a normal Joe Schmo. Like
that would be amazing. I would love
pitch that to NBC.
Carnage Jr. You hate your. Carnage Jr. Shout out to Carnage Jr. Carnage, you hate your life like you hate playing shows and getting sucked off by bitches as they feed you grapes in your jacuzzi. You know, you hate getting everything you want. You hate the ridiculous shit you put in your rider that promoters actually abide by. They get you a picture of motherfucking Stewart.
Come work with Juan over here in the deli. Down the block, who works from 2 in the morning to 10 a.m. every day.
Go deal with customers. Go deal with Esther from Regal Park, who comes in. Juan, the sandwich you gave me the other day had really moldy bread. I think that you should give me half price on this new one you're giving me here. You know, like...
I hear what you're saying, but in all seriousness, though, what does that
I
make
thought there was going to be a storm, so I bought 10 cartons of milk, and then there wasn't a storm, but I want to return this milk now, Juan.
Mysterio, what is the... I still don't... I agree with you in that sense. Yeah, they should be a little bit more cognizant of the fact that they do have an amazing lifestyle.
Wake up and smell the roses.
But that doesn't take away from the fact that depression is still very present in their lives, and there's nothing they can do about that. They have to take time off.
And I agree, but I'm saying lucky for them they have the luxury.
Okay,
lucky for them they have the luxury.
Sure. Okay, yeah, that's true. They are very lucky, but what are you trying to get at is my question. Well, what's the point of this?
The real point that I really am trying to make is realize what you want to do. Maybe some of these people, I was saying it like, and you could take it as a joke, but it wasn't a joke. Maybe a producer taking time off and smelling the roses, or maybe experiencing other experience. Maybe they realize that this job isn't for them. No matter what job you have, you need to accept the pros and the cons, the perks and the jerks, as I like to say. That's a Mysterioism. No matter what job you get in this world, there's pros and cons. So you're a fireman, you get to fucking retire in 15 years, beautiful pension, you're taking care of dental, everything. Guess what? You're smelling terrible fumes that's gonna shorten your life expectancy. These are the cons. You're, maybe a 9/11 will happen. You'll lose your friends, maybe you lose your own life, lose some of your health. Those are the cons, pros and cons.
Well, a lot of DJs they don't even prepare for retirement. A lot of DJs, DJing as an art form has only been around for 30 years,
it's
more or less.
It's a con,
but a lot of them don't even have health care, or they don't even have retirement plans.
Okay, but guess what?
But I'm just saying that
stay relevant.
That's a whole nother topic for another podcast. But DJs should prep themselves for these things while the fame is still around, because when you're not relevant anymore and you don't have a 401k, when you retire after 20 years of a career...
But it's not like we're not seeing people. Benny Benassi did it.
That's true.
Tiesto's in the process of doing it. Ghetto, we're seeing people...
Diplo
just turned 40, people! Sorry, I screamed.
You're screaming on the mic. Again.
Sorry. Diplo just turned 40, people. 40 years old. Diplo ain't slowing down.
Looking good for 40,
Diplo ain't looking good for 40. Diplo ain't slowing down. This is getting off on a little tangent here, but what I was trying to say is, with every job, there's things that come with the territory.
I agree.
If you're a DJ producer, guess what comes with that territory? Traveling, waking up at crazy hours, sleepless nights, hungover mornings, no time to sleep.
Well, that's a choice, hungover mornings. That's a choice. You don't have to drink on the job. That's a choice.
You don't have to, but I don't know many people that don't. Like, it's, for me and for us.
But that's a choice, though. You're talking about choices versus...
Well, part of your job as a DJ is setting a vibe. And some people don't need to. For me, though, as a hype man, and even for you, you deny it sometimes. I don't like your sober sets as much as you. When I say V,
Whoa,
when I say
what
V,
a
he's fucking
statement.
downing down his whiskeys, and he's feeling loose, and he's doing it. You take more risks, you're more fun, you play a better set.
Cascade is a Mormon, and he does well.
I hate people like you.
Aoki's straight.
I hate people like you that pull the exceptions.
What about Aoki?
Okay, there's exceptions. I know there's people, and there's gonna be people in this podcast that I don't drink, and I DJ my cousin Sweet 16, and I killed it. Good for you. But there's exceptions, but majority of these people, when I see these back-to-backs, Khan and all these, they're fucking ripped.
Yeah.
We have different opinions on what an entertainer's job is, and I will never think differently. Entertainer has one job. That's to entertain through his creations, through his performances, to entertain. Now, if he wants to go further than that, that's his choice. Then that becomes part of his brand. And I think that me and you kind of do both. Because we get, there's pictures of me and you and videos of us downing fucking whiskey on
You're
stage.
smoking weed on live streams.
Smoking weed on live streams. We do this.
Which I don't always agree with, but yeah, you're right.
But in the same token, we always try to do things for the fans, for up-and-comers. We have Fight Free. We put out people's music. We play people's music that may not necessarily have a name, even if we think it's dope. Like, we do things for the people, and we also maintain our integrity of who we are, wild party guys. And to me, that's fine. Yeah, that's just how I always felt. Like, it's not an entertainer's job, Back when all my favorite lyricists were getting called out by the FCC and all this shit for their languages and for their messages. I'll never forget the song, a D12 song, Bizarre starts it off, when the music stops. You remember that? He goes, "We, as entertainers, have a responsibility to these kids. Psych. If I were to die in cold blood," and then he starts the song. But I always took that to heart. I'm like, yo, psych.
I guess
we don't have a responsibility to raise these kids. That's the parents' job.
You're right, Mysterio.
That's the person's job.
It all depends
that's
on
self-responsibility. I believe in self-responsibility.
It all depends on the brand you want to portray your brand image, right? Yeah, that's true. You don't as an artist, you don't have a responsibility. Yeah. It depends.
Like in 2018, dude, people are funny when they come up to me and go, yeah, but when people really idolize you, you can change their minds. Nah. I live in the real world. I watch celebrities actively trying, and this isn't a political thing, but I'm just gonna actively trying to get Trump not elected, pushing Hillary. It's a different time. There was a time when people listen to celebrities. Listen to now they'll go in there. You really disappointed me with your belief, and because of that, I'm gonna unfollow you. You just lost your biggest fan. People are not changing their minds or changing their lifestyles because of their favorite DJ. I'm sorry. Okay. If somebody has strong beliefs in 2018 about drinking and they go and see their favorite DJ getting tanked on stage in the back-to-back with 3 other guys, fucking drooling with their shirts off and falling all over themselves with their fucking dicks hanging out, a little piss dribbling out, they're not going, ooh, I need to get fucked up because he got fucked up. DJ Litty Titty got fucked up, so I gotta get fucked up. No, like, one thing the internet has created is this kind of vortex where, the fans, in their mind, they're just as important as you are. They're not gonna change anything.
But you have to admit that it is displaying a certain image. It is proliferating the idea that it's cool to be on stage
for their
drink and get drunk, right?
For their brand. So that person, I would say,
yeah,
okay.
But if you're a 15-year-old kid, you're not thinking on that level, Mysterio. You're thinking, oh, that's what I'm gonna do one day if I ever become a famous DJ. I'm gonna get drunk and wrecked every night, and I'm gonna be on stage.
And you probably are, which brings us full circle. It comes with the territory. We have a job where you could do that. If you work at fucking NYPD, you don't, and some of them still do, but you don't have that luxury where you're allowed to fucking bring a bottle to work. You're a DJ, it's on your rider. You're getting provided by the same people who paid you or providing you with this fucking bottle.
But like you were saying before, you have to be prepared for the following. I think with DJing, sleepless nights, restless nights, definitely, 100%. Grueling schedule, grueling touring schedule. You're not going to be home. You're not going to see your family.
Alcohol's a choice. That's a choice.
Alcohol's a choice. alcohol and drugs are a choice.
I agree.
But the touring, non-stop touring, you're not going to see your family. It's very hard to have a stable relationship.
But do you know what helps with the other things you don't have choices with? The long flights, the sleepless nights, you know what helps?
What?
Drinking.
I don't agree. But anyways.
For a lot of these people.
Grueling schedule, grueling tour schedule, and I think that all of these things, grueling tour schedule, restless nights, these things all lead to depression or anxiety or mental illness over time. I think that's what's creating it.
But this is, I'm
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do. But I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm just very passionate about this. It goes back to what I said about privilege and luxury. Because guess what? Every job has its territories. You're a police officer. Your territory is you're going to see a dead, lifeless body. You might see a child die. You could see an old woman who reminds you of your grandmother. You're going to see things that trigger you and that affect you on such a fucking level. You're going to see fucked up things. You don't have really the luxury to go up on Twitter and be like, I had to see my partner accidentally shot somebody today. It's really, I had to see this dead body. I'm taking a break. You don't see that. I mean, you can't. In these other jobs, you just don't have that luxury. And every job has these fucked up things that come with it. And I'm saying for DJs, if you can't deal with it, maybe at some point you need to start reevaluating. Or do the Avicii and be like, I'm just gonna make music from home. But at some point, maybe you're not cut out for it. Because this is part of what we do. I'm sorry. And I hear you. Believe me, there's nights, man, when I'm in a hotel room and we're not in the same room and I'm start thinking about life and I miss things and I get depressed. But I have to.
We're not even touring as frequently as these guys. But there are a lot of kids out there, and we know them personally, that suffer from depression, and they're not even at our level yet. Like, they're still up and coming producers, and they're going through their own issues at home. So that's also something to think about, right?
Sure.
That there are producers that aren't even touring or extensively touring or doing anything like that, and they're already suffering.
I feel bad for those people. What about the people that this is all they want to do?
That's a whole nother
Their
thing.
dream is to produce and to DJ, they see all these people going worldwide, living these great lives. They're fucking jocking a register. I understand those people more being like, fuck my life, like, and that's why I feel more when I see a DJ complaining who has it all. I can't help but think about the kid at home,
but
who has 3 jobs trying to make it work while he's still producing on the side.
I do agree that one is worse than the other, but at the same time, they're the same, which is the weird thing about depression. It is interesting.
It's kind of saying,
it's
like,
interesting.
What weighs more, like 10 pounds of feathers or 10 pounds of metal? They're both 10 pounds. No, it's true.
Yeah, it's true.
It's true.
But look.
But if I slam you in the face with the 10 pounds of pillows, I gotta tell you, with feathers, it's probably gonna hurt a little less than the 10 pounds of metal.
You're right. But we have to end this podcast soon. We want to end it on a more positive note. We have 2 tracks that were submitted by 2 producers that we really like and we think are really dope. 2 up and coming producers, and we want to play you their songs right now. We want to release them on our label Fight Free. We're still in the process of getting the paperwork in order. But remember, guys, feel free to submit your tracks to fightfreepromo@gmail.com. We'll put the link in the description on our YouTube channel. But if you're listening to this on iTunes, it's Fight Club. That is the name of our group. promo@gmail.com. Here's the first track. And this track is by a producer called Elmina. The song is called Trippin'. He sent me this track last night. I think it's really dope. Mr. Hero, you haven't even heard it yet. This is like a hybrid of Moombatone and some other genres. Let's listen to this.
Sipping on my lean and I'm with my fucking team. Sipping on my lean and I'm with my fucking team. I said I'm sipping on my lean and I'm with my fucking team. Sipping on my lean and I'm with my fucking team. I said I'm sipping on my lean. Said I'm with my fucking team. Said I'm sipping on my lean and I'm with my fucking team. I said I'm sipping on my lean and I'm with my fucking team. I said I'm sipping on my lean and I'm drinking like this.
So that's Trippin'. What did you think, Mysterio? That's Trippin' by Elmina.
I fucking fuck with that. That was fucking fire.
It's like a hybrid of all these different genres.
Yeah. I even like the hook was getting in my head. Too sipping in my lean with my team.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's an original vocal or if it's a sample pack, but
love that drop, man.
Dope ass drop. The next track is by Roy Dest, who is a producer from the Netherlands.
This one's dope.
This one's called Hooligan. That was Roy Dest. The track is called Hooligan. 2 tracks that we are planning to release on Fight Free. So make sure you look out for those tracks. Remember, send your tracks to fightclvbpromo@gmail.com. If we're feeling the tracks and we want to sign them, we will play them on the podcast. But that's all the time we have for today. I want to thank you guys. Sorry we rambled. No, we didn't really ramble. We just went on a little longer than usual. This was a pretty loaded topic, and we really wanted to shed some light on a very serious subject matter, and we wanted to spend a sufficient amount of time on it. But we hope you guys enjoyed it, and we're very excited to announce that we will be playing EDC Mexico on February 23rd.
See you at EDC Mexico.
EDC Mexico.
I also do want to say, I'm just very passionate about the subject we talked about. I don't want you to think that I take anybody's depression lightly. I was just giving, a different take, sort of devil's advocate and my views. But I do realize they're simply my views. There is no right or wrong here, You can't explain someone's personal pain, and I'm very aware of that.
I appreciate that, Mysterio. Appreciate you saying that. It takes a big man, a very mature man, to say something like that. I'm being serious. We should put a little disclaimer. The views and expressed by Mysterio and Sav are solely... You know that little disclaimer that they always put in the beginning of a show? But in all seriousness, yeah, guys, our views and everything we express, it's just our opinion. But we do feel very strongly about this subject. And if you do suffer from depression, and even if, whether it's clinical or even if you just feel it, definitely reach out to people around you, your friends, family. Reach out to us, if you're a producer that suffers from depression, hit us up. hit us up on Instagram.
And we're not just saying that, like, really, I mean,
yeah,
we will, you know, we're not above getting on a fucking FaceTime with you or like an Instagram chat or something.
Even if it's for a few seconds, we'll cheer you up. We'll do our best to make you feel better, because sometimes that's all it takes, you know. And we're not at that level yet where we're so busy where we can't even respond to you guys. Like, we take the time, Mysterio and I both sit down and go through our DMs, our promo emails, and we do our best to respond to everyone in a timely manner. So we want to thank you guys for listening. Tune in next time. Next episode, we will discuss homosexuality in dance music, and which is a really interesting topic as well. And we will give you guys some more tidbits on production stuff and all that good stuff. So thank you guys again. Much love.